This is the Hammond Student Center on the campus of Southwest Missouri State University in Springfield, Missouri. Site of tonight's Missouri Valley Conference game between the 11-9 ISU Redbirds and the 10-6 Southwest Missouri State Bears. Hello again, everybody. Kurt Pegler alongside of Jim Gibbons will call tonight's Missouri Valley game between the Redbirds and the Bears. Jim, really two teams headed in opposite directions, right?
Well, I'd say so right now, Kurt. Southwest is struggling because they have lost 6 of their last 8 games, and they've lost simply because they're not shooting the basketball very well. In their last 8 games, they're averaging only 60 points a game, and they've lost 6 of those 8 games. Now, the Redbirds may be the hottest and the most improved basketball team in the Valley. They're on a roll right now. They've won 3 out of their last 4, and they've had a huge win over Tulsa at home and a huge win over Southern last Saturday at Southern.
In fact, one of the reasons why they've been so hot, Maurice Trotter, he has been lighting it up out of the backcourt for the Redbirds.
Well, you're right about the Mo, man. I want to tell you one thing. If you look at his 5-game stats, you'll realize why he is the leading scorer on this basketball team. And he's got it both ways, Kurt, because he can go out and shoot outside. He can stay inside and post up. I've watched a lot of basketball, and last Saturday in that game against Southern, he made more pressure shots down the stretch than anybody I've seen in a long time.
Now, the guy on the other side of the coin for Southwest Missouri State's pretty good, too, Johnny Murdoch.
I'd say so because they've got a guard-oriented offense, and it all starts with that guy right there. You're looking at his stats. He's on a roll again right now. He's a terrific one-on-one basketball player. He has a chance to become the all-time leading scorer here at Southwest, and he's going to set the record for the most games ever started by a Southwest player.
Now, when you look at these matchups, Jim, what's the most intriguing thing you see about tonight's ballgame?
Well, for me, it's tempo, because you know what? Both of them want the tempo the coaches do at their level, and what I'm anxious to see is what each one of those coaches will be able to do to get his team to play at the tempo they want.
It's going to be a fun one to watch, and ISU going for its 4th consecutive win here at the Hammond Center. The Birds and the Bears up next, right here on WNBD. Welcome back to the Hammond Center here in Springfield, Missouri. We're on the campus of Southwest Missouri State University, where the ISU Redbirds look to win their 5th game in their last 6 tries tonight. Here's a look at the ISU starting lineup tonight. They'll start David Kaysen, who's the leading assist man in the league. Maurice Trotter has played his way back into the starting lineup. He's in the backcourt. Brian Kerr in the center. Dan Muller and Kenny Wright will be in the front court for the Redbirds, who are coached by Kevin Stallings. He's in his 2nd season at ISU with a 28-20 record in the Valley. He is 18-9 overall. Home team tonight, the Southwest Missouri State Bears. Of course, they're led by Johnny Murdoch, the all-conference player. Ben Kondobinder, who's been an outstanding freshman, also starts in the backcourt for the Bears. Clint Thomas is the man in the middle. Robert Wilkerson and Johnny Epps are the forwards tonight for the Bears of Southwest Missouri State, who are coached by Mark Burnson in his 3rd season at SMSU with a 42-32 record in the league. He is 21-24 lifetime. Jim, we talked a little bit about the two teams heading in opposite directions, and really even offensively they have different styles. Kevin Stallings wants to go up and down and make this a pinball game. Mark Burnson really wants to slow this pace down.
Well, I asked Mark after his shoot-around today, Kurt, give me your keys, especially defensively. He said what I thought he'd say. We have to stop their transition. We've got to slow them down, and then we've got to stop their post-up people inside. Now, when I asked the Illinois State coaches what about their keys, their first key was just what I thought it would be. The guys coming out now for the introduction, they said we've got to stop Johnny Murdoch. He is a terrific one-on-one basketball player. So you see, even the thinking of the coaches, you know darn well, one knows it's going to be transition, the other maybe half court.
The officials for tonight's game, Tim Hutchinson, Terry Davis, and Wayne Unruh. That's the trio of officials that will work tonight's Missouri Valley Conference game, again, between ISU and Southwest Missouri State. The record is in favor of Illinois State. They lead it 13-7 lifetime, and as we said, the Redbirds have won 4 straight overall over Southwest, and they've won the last 3 in this building. In fact, Jim, no other league team has won more than 1 time in this building except for Illinois State. It's quite a home away from home for the Redbirds.
I was very surprised to hear that, and you know, one of the things Mark Burnson said to me when I was doing the Southern game here a few weeks ago is, anybody in this league, you have to protect your home court, and they've lost here more than they usually do, and boy, this is a big regrouping game for Southwest.
Well, again, we'll see which of the two contrasting styles win out tonight, either the slow, methodical pace of Southwest or the up-and-down pace of ISU. Kenny Wright is ready to tip, along with Johnny Epps, and the Redbirds control the tip. We are underway here in Springfield, Missouri, and glad you're with us here on WNBD. Mo Trotter looks and gives to Kern now. Looks like a man-to-man defense.
Man-to-man defense. And I think that's what both teams will start in.
Kaysen lost his dribble. Now he looks for a little help and has to come back out now to Muller. And here's Trotter. We are just underway here, folks.
The one thing you've got to realize about Southwest is they are playing excellent defense. Mark told me that 3 times today. We're excellent.
In fact, 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Kenny Wright to miss. He tips again. Can't get it. Back with his own rebound right up and in.
Boy, that's terrific. Did they go to those boards and crash those boards, and you can't afford to give anybody 3 tries at that basket.
Rebounding, and we'll get into this later, will be a huge key to tonight's game because neither of these teams typically out-rebounds its opponent, but when they do, they win. Murdoch down low. Draw the foul on Kaysen and count the basket.
Boy, that is pretty good execution. The first key we talked about, stop Murdoch. Now watch. There is a classic example, Kurt, right now. Watch him with the head and shoulder fake. Now he's going to force the contact. There, he forced the contact. Watch him finish the shot. Boy, that is a classic example of forcing the contact and finishing the shot. That's a tough matchup down inside for anybody, especially David Kaysen.
Murdoch misses the free throw and Wright the rebound. As we mentioned, Johnny Murdoch is the key to this whole offense. He's the guy that makes this thing work. They're guard-oriented, and he's the main man in that guard backcourt.
Well, when we get a chance, I'm going to tell you something about an NCAA record that they set in the last game against Evansville. I'm talking about Southwest.
Here's Dan Muller's first shot. It's long, and Murdoch with the long rebound. Back come the Bears. We are even at 2. Nice defense by Kenny Wright.
Last game against Evansville, they went to the 11:41 mark. Southwest did without scoring a basket. They set an NCAA record. The score was 6-1 after the second TV timeout. They're way ahead of the game right now.
Mark Burnson watching his Bears, and he watches Johnny Murdoch miss that shot, but there for the rebound is Clint Thomas. Here's Kondelbinder, inside off the glass. Mo Trotter trying to knock the ball for the Redbirds, and Southwest is going to retain possession.
The one thing that both coaches are concerned about, the rebounding. The rebounding was hurting Southwest for a while, and Mark Burnson told me today, Jim, the last 2 games we've rebounded well. Illinois State's going to have to rebound better than that. Clint Thomas is in there. That's his job, is to get rebounds like that. He's a roll man. You can't give this team that many shots at the basket in one sequence.
Wilkerson. He's short. Loose ball is grabbed there and knocked in by Johnny Epps.
Yeah. Kevin's not happy right now. He's making the first substitution because he has Marcus Franklin off that bench.
And there goes David Kaysen right to the defense, and he lays it in. His first 2 of the night, and we're tied at 4.
David Kaysen scoring.
Kaysen last year hit his first 8 shots from the floor, went 8 for 8, a career-high 20 points against the Bears in their last trip.
Good
here.
overplay.
Nice
Very
defense
good
by
overplay.
Wright, and a pretty good defensive play by Epps as he knocked it back, and it's a loose ball on the floor, and off the end line, it's going to go back to the Bears. Wright made the initial steal, and then Epps hustled back on defense and caused the turnover.
Good. The thing about playing defense is one of the things, the ability to anticipate. Watch, the spacing wasn't good, came out with the overplay, just happened to get tripped up right there and lost balance, or else he would have had a breakaway.
Epps never gave up on the play. He helps commit the turnover for Illinois State, and it's back to a 4-4 game now with the Bears shooting for the lead.
Boy, they're posting up Murdoch on Kaysen inside an awful lot. He's going to have to get some help.
Kondelbinder takes Trotter to the corner, loses his dribble, now flips back out to Murdoch. 15 on the shot clock.
Playing him straight up in a man-to-man.
Kaysen went for the pick. He got a hand on it, and Kern came up with the loose ball.
Kern stepped right out. Very good.
Kaysen changes his shot now. Here's Kern from the top of the key. Epps with the rebound. Both teams a little cold shooting out.
See, when Murdoch tries to dribble up high, Kern's going to come out and double him all the time.
Wilkerson misses, and Franklin fresh into the game.
That's why he's in. There's the first rebound, and he got it.
He checked in for Kenny Wright. There's a nice pass from Kaysen to Kern, who makes it convert to a hoop.
That's a great entry pass. That's exactly why that guy's assist-to ratios are so absolutely spectacular. He's at 135 to 48.
And Murdoch takes him right to the hole and scoops it in. Johnny Murdoch has 4 of the 6 points for Southwest Missouri State. We're tied at 6. Quickly back down floor, Illinois State's Marcus Franklin with the turnaround jumper.
Marcus Franklin scoring.
4 different Redbirds have scored, and that's the story of their season, isn't it, Jim? They've really spread the wealth around.
That's Kevin said, it's hard to know who to guard when you're playing us. He said, I don't know where the points are coming from on a nightly basis myself. Nice play.
Kern almost gets a steal, but he knocks it out of bounds.
Number 35, Rob Gibbons, checking in the lineup for Illinois.
Take a look at the trap right now. He's going to come right out. Watch him. That's pretty good right there. As soon as they go to the corner like that, they're going to come out and put the double team right there, right in front of the ISU bench.
More substitutions for Kevin Stallings. Rob Gibbons and Chad Altadonna come in. Maurice Trotter and Brian Kern get a breather. So we've barely played 3.5 minutes, and already Kevin's made 3 substitutions. Murdoch, free throw line, missed it. Epps, perhaps over the back he was on Rob Gibbons. Nice position there for Gibbons.
Yep, very good, and he got his body right into him. And the thing that he did, Kurt, is instead of going up straight, as soon as he felt that pressure from behind, he went right toward the basket, which meant the person behind wasn't going to be able to come over and slap the ball away.
We'll step aside, take our first timeout. It's 8-6 Illinois State. With the early 8-6 lead, Jim, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that Southwest is not shooting the basketball very well.
37%. They shot 31% in the second half against Evansville on Monday, and in their last 4 games, Kurt, they've shot 39%, 34%, 34%, and 43%. That's why they're only scoring 60 points a game. You can't continue to shoot like that and expect to win, especially when your defense is so good.
A whistle away from the ball here. It looks like they're going to whistle Clint Thomas with a foul.
If we could just move that third official, we'd be seeing a lot better game.
Wilkerson actually whistled for his first foul. It's 8-6 Illinois State. We've played 5 minutes here.
That's good ball movement. That's a shot he's got to take.
Muller for 3. And it's over the top of the backboard. Dan Muller's missed his first 2 shots, although he has played well in the last couple of games.
That's a shot that he was wide open. Sometimes you can work an awful long time off the clock and not get a wide open shot like that, and he's capable of hitting it. Now, they've taken 8 shots, Southwest has, and Murdoch has 4 of them already.
That is not surprising. Again, we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Kondelbinder down low, he scores, and again, there is the guard work doing most of the scoring.
Yep.
Kondelbinder and Murdoch will be the 2 guys to keep your eyes on, because they will score most of the points if trend goes the way it has and Marcus Franklin gets a hoop down low.
That's what you call a good substitution. There's a guy that's got 2 baskets now and a couple of rebounds in just a couple of minutes of play.
Illinois State now with a 2-point lead at 10-8. Monty Marsh has checked into the game for the Bears. He was the man who just touched the ball briefly. Trouble for Wilkerson. Kondelbinder around Altadonna.
Boy, that's good help defense by Muller right there. He stopped them from driving. Kondelbinder.
Wilkerson missed the shot, and Gibbons comes down with the rebound. Illinois State back in transition now, trying to pick the tempo up of the ball game.
Yeah, see, Southwest isn't crashing too many people to the offensive glass because they're more concerned about the defensive transition. You've got to give up something. Now, you watch Illinois State, they're crashing many more people to the offensive glass.
15 to shoot. Muller again, this time from the right side. Still hasn't hit a shot. Fouled his own shot. Loose ball on the foul. Who do we have here, Muller or Wilkerson?
I think he's got number
Wilkerson,
3.
Yeah, Wilkerson. He was pointing right in the middle of that scrum there.
See, and I like that shot that Dan Muller took because he was wide open again. He's a 37% shooter from 3-point range. He's taken 83 of them. And if you're going to pass up those shots, Kurt, I'm a firm believer you might as well sit down for a while. Now, he is substituting for him right now, but it has nothing to do with the fact that he took those shots. He's got to take those in their offense.
After picking up his second foul, Wilkerson has sat down, and Monty Marsh has also joined him. So more substitutions. Here's Chad Altadonna. His shot partially blocked, but Franklin is there for the loose ball, and he lays it in. 3 for 3 for Marcus Franklin.
Hang around that basket like that, Kurt, and you're going to get garbage kickbacks just like that, and that's what Franklin has done on 2 of the 3 scores he's gotten.
In fact, Marcus Franklin is shooting 68% in Valley games. He leads the league in field goal percentage in Valley games. Here's Kondelbinder from the right baseline.
Boy, that's pretty good offense, but I'll tell you one thing, Chad Altadonna really got picked, and he was nowhere near him.
And Chad made a bad pass there, but Franklin there to steal the outlet and lay it in. Marcus Franklin. He's been tremendous here in the first 6 minutes of the ball game.
And that's what you need. You need someone off the bench that can do that.
8 points for Marcus Franklin and a 14-10 Illinois State
Boy,
lead.
and is he working hard on defense. Good overplay right there by Marcus.
Edwards to Kondelbinder for 3. He missed it. In the corner, Kaysen goes and gets, and here comes Illinois State. Kaysen pushing the ball hard up the floor now. Looks at Trotter, then looked him off.
Illinois State is not in sync offensively yet, but that's because Southwest is doing such a good job. Nice inside, nice move.
Altadonna on the block scores. He worked Anthony Edwards down and laid it in right over him. 16-10. Points in the paint. ISU has 14 and Southwest has just 6. That's been the difference so far. Here's Murdoch with a nice pass down low in the lay-in by Johnny Epps. Back to a 4-point game and quickly back down floor. Marcus Franklin. He made a terrific catch and laid it off the glass.
Exactly what they want to do. One of the things Kevin, I'm sure, is going to try to do, Kurt, is to keep shuffling people in and out because Latimer is suspended for tonight's game. Mark Burtson only has about 7 people that he can play, and toward the end of the game, I think ISU is going to try to wear them down.
The Redbirds continue to score in the paint, Jim. 16-6. They've outscored the Bears in the lane.
The only shots they've missed are the long 3-point shots that Dan Muller has taken. They've got to guard that guy. They've got to get up. They've got to get up in his numbers more because they're not doing a good job on him right now. He's got a hot hand, and I can tell by the way he's releasing the ball, and he's making himself tough to guard right now.
We have perhaps the 2 best freshmen in the league out here, Dan Muller and Ben Condolbender. We hope that we'll see these guys play one another tonight. Altadonna, the nice fake and dish to Kaysen. Franklin. He has not missed a shot tonight.
That's when you're in a rhythm. And the nice thing about it is the other players know it. When you've got that many guys scoring in double figures, no one seems to care who's getting them. You're just looking for the open man, and that's what they did.
20-15, the Redbirds lead. Southwest has not found a way to solve Marcus Franklin.
See, there he goes.
Condolbender again for 3. He'll shoot it all game. We talked a lot about Johnny Murdoch in the open and how he is the spark plug, but Condolbender actually shoots more threes and has a better
another
percentage.
Change coming up right now because Muller is coming back in, and you know why he's coming back in? I'll guarantee he's coming back in to guard Condolbender. I don't know whether he's going to take Chad out or whom it is that is, well, he's bringing 4 new players in right now.
Number 23.
This is like a line change in hockey. 4 guys coming in. And we'll tell you who they are when we come back. It's Illinois State 20 and Southwest Missouri State 17 here from the Hammond Center. ISU Redbirds with a 20-17 lead over the Southwest Missouri State Bears, and the reason that Illinois State has shot so well from the floor, Jim, most of their shots are coming inside.
How many times have you heard me say you've got to get the ball to people where they want it and when they want it? You see that? If he'd have waited any longer to release that ball right inside Altadonna, the defensive player would have had a chance to recover. That's good execution.
So even the guards from ISU are scoring down low, and the Redbirds own a 3-point lead now. Kern, Wright, Cooper, Muller, and Jamar Smiley now checks in for the first time in the game for Illinois State.
Franklin's only 6 of 6 off the bench.
Yeah, only, right? Cooper had the ball knocked out of his hands, and when he tried to go and get it, he stepped on the end line.
He should never have tried to make that pass over the man that was guarding him because there was such a difference in size. All he had to do was drop it down and use the bounce pass right while the man had his arms up in the air.
Brian Jackson has entered the game for Southwest Missouri State. He's a walk-on, a football player. They were a little short on numbers, and he said, sure, I'll come over and give basketball a try. He's got the basketball right now.
When he comes in, Murdoch goes to the 2 guard, which he feels more comfortable at, so that's good for Murdoch.
Murdoch missing that 3. Smiley pushing the ball up the floor. Speaking of 3 balls, here's Antonio Cooper. He loves that shot. The bulk of his shots have been 3s. Nice defense and a good offensive tip out by Kern to get that ball. He's going to get rewarded now with a shot off a pick, and he screened and rolled and he hit it.
Good recognition by Smiley and good movement by Kern to come back out since he knew he wasn't being guarded and make himself available for the pass.
Boy, the Redbirds have really done a nice job executing offensively. Although they haven't shot the ball well, they've done very well, it seems like.
Look at who's on Condolbender now. You see Muller guarding him?
There was a blown coverage down low, and Clint Thomas got freed up. He got fouled. He's going to go to the free throw line.
It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all, with that foul. You've got to put people on the free throw line. You're putting a guy on there that's an 82% free throw shooter, but there's no use giving somebody a lay-in right there. Make the contact. Nothing dirty about that at all. He's just trying to make sure that he's going to force him to go to the line. The one thing, take another angle at it right here. There's a nice pass again, nice recognition, nice cut to the basket. Just a breakdown defensively by ISU right there.
Ben Condolbender, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The one thing that Evansville did in the game on Monday and they did it in the second half, and I'm watching for it, is they took all of Southwest's dribble penetration away from them, and everyone admitted that was the key to the basketball game. You let Murdoch, or even Jackson right now, create all those things with the dribble and the penetration, you're in trouble.
Kondelbinder is out, and Wilkerson back in with 2 fouls. And it's a 22-19 game now. Altadonna is fouled inside by Johnny Murdoch.
So you watch those Illinois State players move, because they've become better offensively. Earlier, their people were cutting to be receivers instead of scorers, and they aren't doing that now. You watch them run that Kansas offense.
Kevin Stallings, a former Kansas aide, so yes, indeed, there are some similarities.
Zone out of bounds now. They'll have to change their offensive set a bit, because they zone on out of bounds plays. Take a look for Altadonna on the side. He should be wide open right down in the corner. Smiley found him. There it is.
He missed the shot, but Kenny right there for the rebound. He spins and puts it up, drew the foul.
Very good move by Kenny Wright. He's got that big body, and he's a fine offensive rebounder. He has 41 offensive rebounds coming into this game. Chad has to take that shot wide open. He's going to can that sooner or later. Boy, that was pretty good, because you know what? It's a long shot and the long rebound, and instead of getting inside, he waited and took advantage of the defensive player who was getting the body into him and got the rebound without even having to work for it.
Kenny Wright's a 6'5", 230-pound junior from Indianapolis. Hits his first free throw. He's shooting 59% from the free throw stripe. Redbirds a pretty good free throw shooting team, Jim.
Well, the Redbirds are at 69% at the free throw line. That's another Achilles for Southwest, though.
Long tip off the missed free throw, and Redbird's going to get another crack at the hoop here. Muller hasn't scored much, but you know once he touches the ball, he's going to get into a rhythm. Here's Kern. Missed it. Murdoch the rebound. Southwest now trying to cut into a 4-point lead. A 4-point deficit, I should say.
Good help by Wright. He took the drive penetration away from Murdoch. That was very good.
Kondelbinder was checked back in. Nice block by Altadonna. Smiley picks up the loose ball.
No, he's got to look for the trailers. He's got to turn and look for the trailer. That's it.
Muller to Kern, back out to Wright. Smiley for 3. He missed everything. And Wilkerson comes up with the loose ball.
Smiley's doing a pretty good job on Murdoch.
Really good
He's
job.
up in his overplay. Good. See, don't let him get the ball back once he gives it up, Kurt. And that's what Smiley did that time.
And Brian Kern is disgusted, so the foul must be on him down low.
Number 43, Brian Kern.
Brian's having a terrific year. The senior from Vandalia is just 54 points shy of equaling his entire 3-year output.
I see Trotter sitting on the bench, and I was wondering why he wasn't back in, but his foot was bothering him today, and a couple of times, as you saw during practice, Kevin asked him about it, and that's why he's been out of this game so long.
He said it was a minor injury and wouldn't be much of a factor, but you're right, he's not spent a lot of time on the floor tonight. 23-19. It's a 4-point Illinois State lead, and the ISU Redbirds come up with a nice pick in the backcourt and then turnover. And now Kaysen looks into Kern, but good denial defense by Clint Thomas. And they have to go to Wright, who goes to Altadonna, who drives the lane, and we have an offensive foul on Chad Altadonna.
Now that's one I'm going to have to take a look at again, because boy, I'm not sure. Now watch and see whether Chad left his feet and the player then moved into him. That's the whole basis for making this call. See if he left his feet. No, I think that was pretty good defense. I think number 42 there was planted. Clint Thomas was planted right there, and I think Chad, he really wasn't expecting that to happen.
And now Maurice Trotter is up off the bench and into the game as Chad Altadonna sits down. It's a 4-point Illinois State lead. There's 8 minutes to play now here in the first half. It's 23-19 in favor of ISU as we head under 8 minutes now. Anthony Edwards with the basketball to Murdoch. 3 guards in there now for Southwest. There's the other one, Kondelbinder.
Boy, did Kern do a nice job of shutting down Murdoch there.
Thomas, nice drop down to Epps, who missed the shot, went back up, tipped it again, and tipped it in again.
Well, that's why the guy's their leading rebounder. Leads them in rebounds and leads in blocks. That's good effort.
And he got a piece of that ball off of Kenny Wright's fingertips. Nice call there, Jim. Down low to Epps on the alley-oop, and he missed the dunk. Southwest looking for the quick strike to tie, but couldn't execute the alley-oop. Kaysen all the way down, and he drew. Nope, offensive again.
Boy, there's another. That's what you call giving yourself up to take those charges. Illinois State isn't in a rhythm offensively the way they were last Saturday against Southern. They're doing a lot of running around without a purpose right now, and they've got to settle in a little more.
7:15 to play in the first half, and ISU with a 2-point lead.
Now, there are a ton of times that you hear me, Kurt, talk about help and recover theory, and you're going to see it right now. Look at Murdoch now. He's going to start to drive. Now, he's got the angle right there. Now, watch Kern. He's going to come right back. He's going to come into the lane right there. He stops him completely. Now, that's what you call help. Now he forces Murdoch to give the ball up because your chances of someone else hurting you are very slim. Murdoch can kill you.
He certainly can. It's a 2-point Illinois State advantage, 23-21 here in the first half. And here's Murdoch. He threw the ball away. Muller got a piece of it, and Kern came down with it and handed it to Kaysen.
Came right off of a double pick, and Illinois State did a pretty good job on it. Not as good as they have done, but he didn't get the look he needed to get the shot away.
Under 7 minutes now here to play in the first half.
Watching Trotter because he hasn't been getting many touches, and that's what I'm concerned about. He needs to start touching that basketball.
So far, the offensive star has been Marcus Franklin. There's Trotter. He came up short, but David Kaysen, the smallest man on the floor, comes up with a rebound.
Now, you see the difference between squaring up a shot, like for a squat shot, which Trotter's used to doing, and that one he shot off balance. That's because the defense isn't giving him a good look at the bucket. Boy, Murdoch's guarding him, and they are bodying each other all over the place. There, he's wide open now. They just didn't get him the ball.
Trying to run some picks and free him up. 10 to shoot. Marcus Franklin. That's his first miss. He's now 6 out of 7 from the field, and the Bears shoot for the tie. Johnny Epps way out on top. He's looking for a little help. He's like a fish out of water there. He finds Kondo Bender, who goes down the lane, score the basket and the foul.
Well, that freshman plays just the way Dan Muller does. They both play at only one speed, and that's 100%. I talked to their manager today, and he said, boy, if they all played as hard as that young man plays, that would be terrific. You can't take anything away from him. That's a big freshman year that he's having. And his stats are good. He's 42% from the field, 39% three-point shooter, and 83% at the line. That's pretty doggone. Most freshmen have that slump. This kid has been steady the whole year.
As you saw the graphic there, he's averaging 11.4 for the season. He's already got 11 tonight, so he's right about his average still here in the first half. Kaysen's pass was not a real good one, but ISU's going to get a break on a foul.
Had the right idea, but just a little too much body. Just a little too much body. And the one thing that you youngsters, if you're playing that pivot and you're waiting to get an entry pass, you have got to come to meet the basketball a little. I don't know whether Brian moved enough, because if you don't, and you've got a big guy guarding you, you stand straight up and don't move to meet the ball, they're just going to flip that ball away on you.
Monty Marsh for Johnny Epps for Southwest, and Jamar Smiley for David Kaysen for ISU, and Brian Kearns at the free throw line for the Redbirds.
69% free throw shooter.
Pretty good, soft touch for a guy of his size. Made them both.
I tell you, this system that Kevin Stalling is running is really made for Brian Kern. He's had a couple of big games. It's really made him an effective basketball. There's the double team I was talking about.
Edwards in trouble. Smiley, they're going to call for a foul because he got too much body on it, but that's pretty aggressive defense there from Illinois State. You can't really fault that.
That's pretty good. You see what happened was they started to dribble the ball down toward the corner right there. And now watch. As soon as they're getting the ball down to the corner here and come to get it back, they're going to go right there and double team right on the guy with the ball, because now you've got the sideline for a third defender. They just got too much body on him right there. They should have just let him keep dribbling the time away off of the clock, because they also had the 10-second line right there as a third defender.
Edwards is a 57% free thrower, and he hits the first one. From Little Rock, Arkansas. He was a high school teammate of Clint Thomas, both seniors finishing out their careers here. in Springfield, Mo, and he hits the second one as well. 1 point ball game now. Actually, we're even, 25 all, pardon me. First time in a long time we've been even.
Boy, look at that.
Look at Marcus Franklin once
positively
more. He got the loose ball and he laid it in. He has been
I
very
had my
active.
eyes on him, Kurt, and watched every single thing he did. That was really terrific.
Illinois State back with a 2-point lead now. And there's that matchup. Johnny Murdoch and Dan Muller all over him. Kondelbinder with Trotter there. And they're going to call Dan Muller on a hand check there. Hey, coming up tonight, or later this week, I should say, the Southwest Missouri State Lady Bears will take on the ISU Lady Redbirds. That's a 2 o'clock game on February the 2nd, tomorrow night. Normal, and you can get your tickets by calling area code 309-438-8000. That's 438-8000, the Redbird ticket office, to see the female edition of this rivalry. Men playing tonight.
You know, the other thing, Kurt, that I've been impressed with about Marcus Franklin, he is scoring at one end, but I have watched him play defense in as many games as I've done, or Illinois State games that I've watched on tape. That's as hard as I've seen him play on defense. He's playing pretty doggone good defense.
Murdoch with 1 of 2. And it's a 1-point Illinois State lead. Marcus Franklin, the lob down low to Kern. He draws the triple team, and he lost the ball on the floor. Anthony Edwards comes up with the loose ball. Southwest has a chance to shoot for their first lead in a long time. It's a 3-ball that goes home for Murdoch.
Well, Brian Kern should never have put the basketball on the floor, and as soon as he did, he created all kinds of problems for himself.
And guess what? The crowd has gotten back into the ball game after the Redbirds have done an effective job of taking them out of it. They're now back awake as it's a 2-point Bears lead.
Boy, Thomas is pushing people all. I can't believe it. He just really is getting a piece of, look at him.
And there's Dan Muller's first basket, and it was a big basket to get the people to sit back down. Muller hits his first shot. We're back tied at 29 now as we approach the 4-minute mark. First half. Murdoch again from about the same spot, but this time he misses the 3. And it's going to be a loose ball foul on Clint Thomas.
We're shooting down at the other end. Boy, there is a hard worker. I mean, he is a hard worker. He's been a 4-year starter, 3-time rebounding leader. He'll be the first man in the history of this school if he gets the lead in rebounding again this year. He gives them he's the best post defender they've got, and as I said before, he's a roll man. He's going to do some kickbacks. He's going to get some rebound. He's going to play post defense. He's going to set a lot of screens and picks, I'll tell you that.
Kern's free throw rattles in and out, wouldn't go home, and we're still tied at 29. Southwest trying to be patient. Marcus Franklin almost the steal, and Monty Marsh there to pick up the loose ball. Murdoch will try to set things up now. We're tied at 29, and the Bears shoot for the lead.
Trotter is on Murdoch. Chad Altadonna is on Kondelbinder. Those are the 2 big matchups.
And here's Anthony Edwards. He hits the pull-up jumper. It's a 31-29 lead now for Southwest Missouri State. Boy, ISU has struggled offensively the last 5 or 6 trips down the floor. There's a steal.
Ran right at Kern. That was good defense.
Edwards looks away and takes it all the way down. Can't get it to go, but we've got a foul on the play.
Very good. Here's what you call running at the pivot, Kurt. As soon as that ball went in and Kern wasn't expecting it, you watch Cap Edwards out front. The ball's going in. Kern doesn't see him. He comes from the other side. But now he had the presence of mind to keep his head up in the air to see if he had the numbers. He didn't. He did the right thing. He went right to the basket and tried to force the foul, and he did.
Now Dan Muller's going to come back into the game. He'll replace Chad Altadonna.
I'll tell you one thing, Illinois State is not playing well offensively for the first 17 minutes, but now I'm going to tell you why they aren't, because Southwest is not letting them play well. Their team defense is terrific, and I can't tell you how many times Mark Burnson said that to me when I had a little meeting with him today. He said, Jim, there is nothing wrong with our defense, and even offensively. I said to him, Mark, are you getting good looks at the basket to be shooting that poorly? He said, I guarantee you we're getting good looks, but the defense is what's keeping us in every game, and they've taken Illinois State out of its comfort zone. They have flat out taken them out of their comfort zone in the first half.
Edwards makes a pair, and the Bears now have a 3-point lead. It's 33, or 4-point lead, 33-29 with 3:05 to play here at the Hammond Center. Back now to live action. ISU has struggled in its last 5 or 6 offensive trips down the floor. And we're under 3 minutes here to play now in the first half, and the Bears have taken advantage of that, Jim. Now they have a 4-point lead.
Yeah, they're zoning again. That's a pretty good change right there. Went into a zone defense.
Most of ISU's points have come in the paint, and they have not shot well from the perimeter, and so Mark Bernson's going to force them and challenge him, and here's Mo Trotter. He misses that shot, and the long rebound is controlled by Anthony Edwards, and he lost it out of bounds.
Mo's not getting very many looks at the basket, and the one thing when you become a marked man, and he is now, I'll guarantee you, the way he's playing, you have to work twice as hard to put yourself in a position to get shots. Now they're still zoning. There's the alley-oop.
Alley-oop to Franklin from Smiley.
Boy, that's a design play right there, and that was executed pretty doggone well, and a nice pass by Smiley.
What a terrific first half for Marcus Franklin.
See, and he's picking
16.
up the slack for Trotter.
Yeah,
see?
16 points in the first half alone for Marcus Franklin. And somewhere he got switched and he had to guard Murdoch, who took him right to the hole and banked it home. Murdoch living up to his billing. Jamar Smiley back down. He lays it up. He can't get it to go, and we're going to get an offensive foul.
Look at Kevin. Whoa. Whoa, I'm not sure. I'd have to see that play. He's talking about a push-off now, and if it's a push-off, then I'll take it. But a push-off wouldn't be player control if it's a push-off. Let me look at this now. Well, there is the push-off. That's not a bad replay right there. But I don't see where that's a player control foul.
4-point lead for Southwest. They can take their biggest lead of the game with a hoop here. We're under 2 minutes to play now in the first half. ISU sticking with their man defense. Murdoch in the middle to Condolbender. He pull-ups, missed the shot, push-off foul underneath. It's going to be on Monty Marsh.
Shooting at the other end, boy, and this is where in a game like this, where you're down to the last minute and 40 seconds, you want to regroup and get in there so that you've got to, if you can get a lead before you go in at halftime, Kurt, that's what you're looking for, but you want to convert on everything because you don't want to let them increase that lead right before halftime.
ISU right now is out-rebounding Southwest 19-13. We talked about that key. Typically, neither of these two teams have been great rebounding teams, but when they do out-rebound their opponents, they win.
Only a 65% free throw shooter.
He gets that first one to go home. 17 points for Marcus Franklin. What a great first half he's had. This is a guy who averages 9 a game, 9.1. He's about ready to double his average here in the first half alone. 6'7" sophomore from Venice. It's a 2-point game now, 35-33. Minute and a half to play here in the first half.
There's the double up. As soon as Murdoch got, that's a good call. Double up right in front of the bench. Force him to give up that ball.
And Trotter got him on a hand check. Mo Trotter just has not really gotten to a flow tonight.
No, see, and that's what Kevin's talking to him about, the defensive position that he had to start with, because he put himself at a disadvantage and Murdoch got the first step on him, and then there wasn't enough help from behind.
So Murdoch will go to the free throw line to get a pair of free throws, where he is a 71% free throw shooter, 48 of 68 on the season.
You check their stats and you'll find out that Condolbender and Murdoch are taking almost all of their shots. Between those two and Edwards, they took 45 of the 55 shots against Evansville, if you can believe it.
I can believe it. It's a very guard-oriented offense that Mark Burnson runs here. It's a 4-point advantage again for Southwest, 37-33. There's Chad Altadonna, who got a nice pick and rolled right through and laid it in. Nice basket by Altadonna, who took it to the hole, and it's back to a 2-point Bears lead.
Now you need to close them down right here and get your last chance at it. Get a shutdown right here on defense and then come down at the other end. Good overplay by Altadonna.
And Edwards. There's Murdoch. Looked at the three, takes it in. Now hands back out to Edwards. 12 to shoot. Rainbow three-pointer. They came up short, and Jamar Smiley with a long rebound. Behind the back pass to Kenny Wright, who laid it in. Nice play. Wow. We're tied at 37.
Not sure he knew where that pass was going, Kurt, but it ended up the right way. And boy, that give Kenny Wright credit for hustling down the court.
There's about a 1/6 second of a differential. 0.6 of a second differential on the shot clock and the game clock. 19 seconds now. 18.
Boy, you can't let down. You can't let down. You can't have 4 guys playing great and you let up. This has to be a stop.
7 seconds. Kondelbinder. 4 seconds. Hangs, fires, partially blocked by Wright. Tip, no. Epps couldn't get it to go home. And that's going to be the end of the half. Southwest could not run an offensive set down there, and they're going to go to the locker room tied with Illinois State at 37. 37-37. Illinois State and Southwest Missouri State. We are live at the Hammons Center on the campus of Southwest Missouri State University. Back to some halftime festivities back here at the Hammons Center in Springfield, Missouri, where the Southwest Missouri State Bears and the ISU Redbirds are tied 37-37 in this Missouri Valley Conference game. Kurt Pegler and Jim Gibbons alongside here. We're all even. It's been a kind of a crazy first half. Not pretty, but both sides probably happy that they're going into the locker room, and we'll start fresh in the second half.
I would say so. More so, I would guess, for Southwest Missouri, Kurt, than I would say for ISU. The big plus for ISU, I think, is the fact that Marcus Franklin came off that bench and right now, believe it or not, has a career high 18 points in the first 20 minutes of this game. And you realize how critical that is when you realize that their leading scorer, the Mo Trotter, was on the bench for a while with that sore foot, and he just hasn't gotten into the flow of the offense. So that is a huge plus for ISU. Southwest, I think that Mark would be happy with their performance. They're playing at home. They've been struggling. The fans haven't been happy. A lot of things have been going wrong. They're trying to regroup. And you know, we said it was a guard-oriented offense, and we saw that in the first 20 minutes. They just have to continue. I'm talking about Illinois State. They just have to continue to shut down Murdoch and Kondelbinder for the next 20 minutes if they expect to win the basketball game.
ISU's 2 leading scorers, Dan Muller and Maurice Trotter, have not really played all that well as far as on the offensive end in this first half. So Kevin Stallings tied at 37 is probably saying, we're all right because our 2 guns haven't scored.
And I've said it. I know I beat it to death, but sometimes when people or teams aren't playing well, I give the credit on the other side. They're not playing well and they're not getting points because Southwest is forcing them out of their comfort zone and they're not letting them get the looks at the basket that they're used to getting.
All right, we are tied 37-37 at the Hammons Center here in Springfield, Missouri. We're going to throw it back to Peoria, our WMBD studios with the news break. Here is... We are at halftime at the Hammons Center here in Springfield, Missouri. 37-37 ISU against Southwest Missouri State. Here's a look at that Redbird Education and Scholarship Fund. You know it as RESF. Here's Chris Curtis to explain.
Illinois State Redbird fans keep up with their favorite teams by going to the games, reading the next day's newspaper, or just watching television that night. But there might not be any highlights or box scores if it weren't for the Redbird Education and Scholarship Funds, which accounts for nearly a fifth of all athletic department costs. RESF fundraisers help finance costs from the athlete's study room to the weight room, from training facilities to coaches' vehicles. RESF also helps offset student-athletes' expenses like room and board, books, and scholarships. And ISU is one of the few universities to offer fifth-year scholarships, even when athletic eligibility has expired. RESF helps out.
It's very valuable. Without the scholarship, I wouldn't be able to graduate on time. I mean, I probably would have to work, and, you know, my schooling would be put off for a while because of it.
If they've done the job in the classroom, maintain a good number of their semesters on the athletic director's honor roll, which means a B average or better, that they are deserving of a little extra help. It's a nice little reward to be able to offer them.
And I'm not just here to swim, I'm here for my academics, and for them to help me in my 5th year to graduate is, you know, one of the greatest values I could have.
Around 1,500 members contribute to the 30-year-old organization through fundraisers like auctions, 50-50 raffles, and golf outings like the D.A. Wyvern Classic.
I'm real proud to have grown up in Illinois and gone to Illinois State, and it's my way of saying thank you back to a university that really gave me 4 tremendous years.
Most every student-athlete has dreams of graduating on time while competing in the best possible environment to win championships. Illinois State's Redbird Education and Scholarship Funds helps make those dreams come true.
And you can support Illinois State Athletics by joining the Redbird Education and Scholarship Fund. To contact RESF, call 38-03. We're tied at halftime. 37 Hammond Student Center in Springfield, Missouri. The Redbirds and the Bears are tied after the first 20 minutes of play. Take a look at some of the halftime highlights here. The Redbirds have done a good job as far as moving the ball around, but they've struggled offensively. And, of course, when you talk about Southwest, you talk Johnny Murdoch.
Well, there's one of the prime one-on-one moves right there, which is what we talked about. He's got 12 points, and that's his strength that we saw right there. Now you come back with Kundelbender, who has 11 points. He's 5 of 10. He hit 1 or 2 3-pointers. Watch them spot him over in the corner. Altadonna didn't come out fast enough on him. Once he sets and squares like that, he's a pretty good shooter. Franklin, 18 points, a career high. 8 of 9, if you can believe it. 4 rebounds. Now, watch the feistiness. Any youngster that's watching, look at it. He goes after it once, he goes after it twice, goes after it a third time, and then he's in a crowd with 5 white shirts around him, Kurt, and had the presence of mind to pick up that basketball and put it right in there for 2 of his 18 points. That's pretty good effort.
As we said, I bet if you would have told Kevin Stallings before the game that his 2 leading scorers wouldn't have scored in the first half, but he'd still be tied, he'd probably take that, right?
I think he'd take that as a plus, obviously. Now, that's where, as he said, I don't know where our scoring is going to come from on any given night, and this is a perfect example of it. Your 2 leading scorers, nothing happens, but you're still squared up playing on the road, and that's important.
Yeah, we're talking about Mo Trotter and Dan Muller. Here's a look at those first half statistics. ISU shooting 52%. They started out on fire. They were shooting about 70% in the first 6 or 7 minutes, but certainly have cooled down, but they'll take that 52% anytime to Southwest's 45. But relatively the same at the free throw line, although Southwest has gotten there 5 more times to the free throw line. Illinois State, for the first time all year, has not made a 3-point shot in a half of basketball. They're all out of 6. There's the rebounding difference, 20-16 for Illinois State. The turnovers and the points off those turnovers, relatively small. ISU with 4 and Southwest with 5. As far as the leading scorers are concerned, Marcus Franklin, a career-high 18 in the first half alone. Brian Kern with 6. And then, of course, that superb backcourt of the Bears. Johnny Murdoch with 12. And Ben Kundelbender has 11, 23 of their 37 points coming from the backcourt.
It's so amazing what they get. You look at the stats here, Kurt. Epps, Murdoch, and Kundelbender have taken 23 of their 29 shots, if you can believe it. And we keep saying they're a guard-oriented team, and that's where you have to do your business. You have to figure if we're going to get beat, we've got to force somebody else to do it. We got to close those guys down. Let's see if Illinois State can continue to get points in the paint, because they've got a big lead on points in the paint in the first half.
24-12 on those points in the paint. Yes, there's your graphic on that. The Redbirds have doubled the Bears as far as that statistics is concerned. First possession now, the second half. Murdoch with a nice down drop pass to Wilkerson, but he can't convert.
Same way they started the first half. They posted up Murdoch inside.
And there's Dan Muller on the offensive end. We knew he wasn't going to stay quiet long. The Redbirds have the lead now, 39-37. Just underway here, folks, in the second half. Muller has now drawn the assignment of Ben Kundelbender. Murdoch over Kaysen, short. Wilkerson the rebound, knocked out of his hands. Murdoch again. Bring it back out and set it up. Fresh 35 on the shot clock. ISU in that man-to-man defense again. Here's Murdoch for 3. Clint Thomas tried to get that loose ball. He couldn't get it. David Kaysen goes into the far corner and comes up with it. ISU now tries to increase its lead to 4. Nice steal by Johnny Murdoch. He picked that pass intended for Mo Trotter.
Boy, Mo is really limping. That foot is really hurting him. It might have not have been, but when he tripped, he hurt it again. He re-injured it.
Re-aggravated that foot injury, which, again, we were told at the beginning of the game is not real serious, but it certainly has seemed to have bothered him enough to keep him out of his rhythm.
See, the one thing I'm excited about now is you have the freshmen matching up against each other. Muller against Kundelbender.
Wilkerson, the missed shot. He tapped it out, though. There's Murdoch. Boy, he got up there in the air. Dropped down to Kundelbender. Lays it up. Couldn't get it. Thomas. Offensive rebound. He drew the foul on Brian Kern.
That's a pretty bad sequence for the Redbirds right there, Kurt. That lasted about 2 or 3 possessions, and you know what? Wilkerson is the guy that caused them all the problems because he's a pretty good leaper, and it's a perfect example of not having to grab a ball with 2 hands. He kept a ball alive about twice, and then finally the big guys got underneath right there. There's the contact. You're going to see it coming right here on the replay. Thomas right into position. Too much body right down below by Kern. But boy, ISU cannot afford to have that kind of defensive operation on the glass there. They've got to start getting into bodies.
So Thomas, who's an 81% free thrower, is now 4 of 4 from the free throw line tonight, and we're back even at 39. We figured this might be a low-scoring game where the possessions would be critical. That's the way it's shaping up to be here.
He's got to hit it.
Altadonna for 3. Back of the iron, no. Kenny Wright the rebound and the foul.
And neither team doing a good job of getting into bodies on the defensive glass. Now, the one thing that it's going to be interesting to find out, Kurt, I get a lot of newspaper clippings, and that's how I track teams. The one thing that Southwest has not been able to do, they have not been able to sustain an effort for 40 minutes. They've played wonderful basketball for long stretches, and then all of a sudden they'll have a drought or something will happen. It happened against Evansville the other night. So let's see if they can sustain it for 40 minutes. And I'm anxious to watch the last 5 when the fact that they're not substituting as much might come into play.
Boy, Kenny Wright completely missed that free throw. He missed both of them and was way short on the second. And now Murdoch. His pass, though, is off ahead and went right back to him, and it was knocked out of bounds in Southwest. That was kind of a Jekyll and Hyde play, but the Bears are going to get the ball back.
Well, he got himself trapped in a bad place. He got wrapped right underneath that basket, and there's not very many places to go when you let that happen to you. Because if you come back in, it's a player control foul.
Wilkerson, Clint Thomas, Ben Candlebender, Johnny Murdoch, and Johnny Epps, the 5 on the offensive end for the Bears. It's Brian Kern. Ball knocked out of his hands. Kern, Kaysen, Muller, Wright, and Altadonna on the floor for the Redbirds. And right through the defense is Candlebender related end. Back come the Redbirds. Altadonna. Muller now to the baseline. Here's Altadonna. He thought about the 3, took a couple of dribbles and hit a closer shot.
Isn't that strange? I was wondering why he passed up the 3, because most people that are good three-point shooters don't like to shoot off the drive, and boy, he did, and he squared himself up, and that's a nice execution.
He's in the game for
a terrific job on Candlebender. I mean, he has really taken him out of his game outside.
We've played 3 minutes here in the second half. We're tied 41-41 after being even at 37 at halftime. Nice pivot by Wilkerson, hits the open man, and Epps, who misses the shot. And look at that rebound by Wilkerson. Candlebender missed it. Another offensive rebound. 4 offensive rebounds this half by Southwest. Wilkerson. You can only give him so many cracks before it's going to go home.
That's pretty discouraging right there. The whole bench for Southwest is up, the whole coaching staff. The Redbirds just simply have to start doing something about that defensive glass.
In fact, Marcus Franklin is now going to check in at the scorer's table. Kevin Stallings trying to get another rebounder in there. Kenny Wright down low. Boy, he worked himself behind the basket, and good thing he was fouled because he didn't have a shot.
He is pretty tough to guard at 6'5" with that big body, 235, but you're right. Had a very bad angle, and if I'm playing him defensively, I'm going to leave him right there because there's no way he's going to make this basket. Look at the angle he has. He couldn't even come back in to get an angle on the shot, but he forced the contact.
Apparently, Franklin is going to check in for Wright, but Wright's at the free throw line. And after badly missing his first 2 free throws of the half, he comes back and switches this one.
A little better rotation. You watch the elbow. You watch it was in. You watch the wrist. You watch the spin on the basketball. Pretty good rotation on it. There's another good one.
Brian Kern tapped it out. David Kaysen the save. But it's going to be a backcourt violation over and back. Nice effort there by David Kaysen. You can't fault that. We have played 4 minutes and 1 second here in the second half. It's an even ball game. 43-42. The Bears lead 43-42 at the 15:59 mark here of the second half. Both teams starting a little bit slowly out of the gates here in the second half. But we kind of expected that. Typically, games between ISU and Southwest Missouri State are a little ugly.
One of my favorite sayings, Kurt, the first 5 minutes of the second half, because a lot of the great coaches feel the same way. Look at this. Second chance points, everything they've gotten, but the first 5 minutes, you got to stay with it. Look at this.
In fact, the Redbirds have 11 second chance points to the Bears' 10, and 6 of those 10 for the Southwest Missouri State Bears have come here after halftime. With a 1-point lead, the Bears look to attack, and they go down low to Wilkerson. Lost the ball on the floor. Kern goes and gets, and they're going to have a jump ball, and on alternate possession, it goes to the Redbirds.
Pretty good defense. One thing I noticed that I think that Illinois State has picked it up a little bit defensively, Kurt. I'm looking at a little more defensive intensity, and I sense them forcing Southwest a little further out on the floor. The only thing that's hurting them is the defensive glass. It's tough to play that good a defense and then have you break down when the ball goes up on the glass.
Good point. And now ISU shoots for the lead with Franklin, Altadonna, Kaysen, Muller, and Kern in there. And Johnny Epps is going to get whistled trying to fight through a pick. Mark Burnson is halfway out on the floor. He didn't like that one bit.
He's had a few conversations with Tim Hutchison tonight. He just thought that the Illinois State player had pushed off in the process, and Johnny Epps didn't have a chance to recover.
And with the foul, Epps leaves. Monty Marsh checks back in. Now Illinois State again with the ball, and it looks like they're going to throw it away. Kaysen tries to save it. Nice effort. He did to Altadonna, but it was picked clean by Wilkerson, who takes it up, but Kaysen got him. Good hustle by David Kaysen to come back and avoid an easy layup, perhaps a dunk.
Well, the thing that Kevin Stallings isn't very happy about now is that Tim Hutchinson was following that play right on the same side of the floor that we're on, and the other official came all the way from the other side from behind, and Kevin didn't think he had quite as good a look at it as Tim Hutchinson, who was just a step or two behind trailing the play.
3 fouls now for David Kaysen. In fact, both of the ISU point guards have 3 fouls. Check that. No, I was looking at another column. Jamar Smiley's all right. Wilkerson at the free throw line. And that's good. 2 for 2, and it's now a 45-42 advantage for Southwest. In fact, Smiley gets off the bench now. He's going to check in the ballgame. Big possession for Illinois State.
He's got it. He's got it.
Dan Muller for 3. It's long.
Good call. Good
foul
call.
on Wilkerson.
They came right out to set the screen on because Muller was wide open, and they tried to run right through the screen, and that's just something you cannot do. Now watch. You're going to see him run right through. There's Kern, slip down. Now, that's a pretty good reaction, and what Wilkerson was concerned about was he thought that it was an illegal screen because he thought Kern moved and cut him off.
He now has 3 fouls. 4th team foul. Altadonna has to throw back near half court to inbound the ball to Smiley. Chad had the ball knocked out of his hands. Good defense. Monty Marsh saves it. And back comes Southwest now with the 3-point advantage and the basketball. Johnny Murdoch threw it away.
Lost control of the basketball because he was intending to shoot right there. And when he went up in the air, somebody got a piece of the ball, Kurt. He lost control of it, knew he couldn't get the shot off, and he was going to come down with probably a traveling call. He tried to push it out to the wing, but it went right by and into the bench.
Mark Burnson has a little bit of a smile on his face because he pounded the basketball. The basketball rolled to his foot, and he pounded on the ground and then chuckled as he handed it back to the officials.
Neither team lighting it up offensively the first few minutes of the second half. Neither one of them in sync.
And that's why the rebounding will be such a key. Another foul away. Nope, 3-second violation. Thought we had another foul away from the ball, but instead it's a violation and a turnover. Redbirds really are out of sync offensively.
Absolutely. Just not the crispness in the offense. When you got a team playing this good a defense against you, Kurt, you have to make sure that every back screen and down screen and curl is better than you've ever made it before, and you just have to work that much harder to get yourself in position to get a pass. There's the trap. See, they're going to...
Hand check once more.
Marcus knew what he did. He did the right thing, but just poor execution. He did exactly what Kevin Stallings wanted to do, and Danny Muller was coming up from behind to put the trap on him. He had no reason to put his body on Murdoch that time, but he got too much body, and they had to call it. You've got to protect the dribbler.
We've played 6 minutes here in the second half. Not a whole lot of scoring. 45-42. Again, we were even at 37 at halftime. Kondelbinder almost lost the ball, but regained possession. 15 on the shot clock. Here's Kondelbinder for 3. He airballed it, and Marcus Franklin with the rebound. Altadonna, offensive foul. Second time this game that Chad's been called for the player control foul.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now whether it is or not, because I didn't have the angle. Kevin Stallings isn't very happy, I'll tell you that. But again, watch him leave his feet. No, that player wasn't squared right in front of Chad Altadonna. That player had to be over another half foot to take the charge body to body. He wasn't. That was a side charge, and I didn't think a very good call. Now I can understand why Kevin was unhappy.
Another whistle away from the ball. And we've got a foul, and this one's on Chad as well. He tried on the flip side to get an offensive foul, but instead he's called for his fourth, and he's going to lead the game.
Number 3, Maurice.
Boy, ISU really appears to be out of sync here in the second half. Maurice Trotter comes in now as Chad will sit down. 4 fouls for Altadonna, 3 for Kaysen that you see, and 4 for Epps and 3 for Wilkerson. So a couple of players in a little bit of trouble here, foul-wise. Still that 3-point advantage. We've been stuck on 45-42 now for some while. Southwest with the ball and that 3-point lead.
Both teams in a major drought right now, and neither one taking advantage of it.
Muller doing a pretty good job on Murdoch. Murdoch gets the pick now, and he threw the ball away. The Redbirds have frustrated Johnny Murdoch a little bit defensively. Jamar Smiley now. Here's Maurice Trotter for 3. Big basket. He needed that. He needed to get back into the sink. He hits the basket, and we're tied at 45.
The one point I want to make, Kurt, is in this type of a game, this becomes a point of possession game, and every possession you better get a good shot, and you better not turn the ball over. That's the kind of a game this is right now. Both teams I'm talking about.
Well, ISU certainly hopes that Mo Trotter gets hot, because he has been the spark plug the last 5 games. Here's Murdoch, tries to answer with a 3. He can't get it. Here's Smiley, and ISU looking for that up-tempo game. Nice pass down low to Muller, who missed the shot, but followed in by Marcus Franklin. 20 for Marcus Franklin. And the Redbirds now have rattled off 5 straight. They own a 2-point lead at 47-45.
See, a new offensive set that time. It was a 1-2-2. Came out in a different set.
Murdoch behind a couple of screens, gets the ball, takes it to the hole, and lays it in. Back in transition now. The Redbirds not wasting time. Kern missed it. Now Southwest in transition. Murdoch for 3. Yes.
Fell behind and came right back on 2 possessions when they had to, and got themselves right back with a lead again.
And the crowd awakens.
And the interesting thing is they burnt the Redbirds with transition themselves.
And Maurice Trotter answers for 3. Now he's getting back into a groove. In the last 5 games, Trotter shooting 56% from the floor. He has really turned it up, although struggled tonight, but hit his last 2. Marsh and Franklin getting tied up as we approach the 10-minute mark.
Come on, come on, come on!
We are tied at 50. Murdoch again, he misses. Trotter the rebound.
What a great box out by Trotter. I watched the whole sequence.
And Smiley is picked by Anthony Edwards.
Wasn't so much that he was picked, Kurt. He just dribbled the ball right off of his leg and right into the hands of Edwards. And boy, those are the kinds, that's what I said. You can't afford to turn the ball over. You've got to get something out of every possession.
Franklin tried to draw the foul. He hit the shot anyway. He's got 22. He's 9 of 10 from the field. Marcus Franklin has been superb tonight.
I want to take a look at what's going to happen here. They're going to change defenses now. Let's see if they're going to go into a box and 1 on Murdoch. See if somebody comes out and chases him all over, whether they're going to play a straight zone. Murdoch hasn't moved, so it looks like they're still zoning.
Condell-Bender. A big, big 3.
Boy, does he have a nice release. He has a tremendous release.
Jamar Smiley drove all the way down. It looked like he was going to be in trouble, but he found Kern somehow, who laid it off the glass.
You talk about a guy that catches and shoots. That's exactly what Kendall Benner does. He doesn't waste any motion once he catches that basketball.
Bryant has 8 points. He's the second highest Redbird in scoring tonight.
Boy, they better shadow Kendall Benner and Murdoch. They can play that zone and let somebody else beat you, but they better stay within distance of those two guys. I sure wouldn't let the two of them get a look at it.
Nice drop down from Kendall Benner to Thomas. Reverse layup, tip, no. Tipped again, no. And Brian Kern muscles it down for the Redbirds, who now shoot for the lead. They're down a point. 3 ball for Trotter. He's on fire now. 3 straight for Maurice Trotter. Boy, Kevin Stallings really wanted Trotter to get into the flow, and he certainly has. Right after Altadonna picked up his 4th foul, he's entered the game and given the Redbirds that spark.
I'll tell you one thing, he's in a rhythm. Those 3 baskets he made were nothing but net. And they know he's hot, and they're going to get him the basketball. That's a charge. Oh.
It's going to be a Kern foul.
Look at Kevin. Look at Kevin.
Boy, Kevin Stallings is upset. He's motioning with his hand to the back of the head. He wanted to get the charge on Murdoch that time.
Well,
Boy, wholesale substitutions coming here. And we'll tell you who's coming in and who's going out when we come back. 8:22 to play. 57-55, the Redbirds with a 2-point advantage.
The most honored musical of all time can now be yours, brilliantly and fully restored. My Fair Lady is now on video for a whole new generation to enjoy.
I could have danced all night.
What could be more loverly than owning your own 30th anniversary limited edition home video of My Fair Lady?
In the play.
Experience the 1964 star-studded Hollywood premiere. See an original theatrical trailer. Witness the behind-the-scenes making of My Fair Lady. Save with a special offer on a My Fair Lady floral bouquet. And savor the brilliantly and fully restored My Fair Lady, picked by People magazine as one of the 10 best films released in 1994. To own your copy of this limited edition video for the low price of $24.98 plus $3.95 shipping and handling, call 1-800-739-7979. That's 1-800-739-7979. Call now.
Get a backstage pass into the world of entertainment.
I'll name them.
Ooh.
And go behind the scenes of Extra.
It's all free and cute.
The hottest new entertainment show on television.
I'm as mature as I'll ever be.
It's you.
Meet the people who bring you a fresh, exciting inside look at the stars, the movies, the music, and all the news that is entertainment.
Oh.
Behind the scenes with Extra. Entertainment from the inside.
Weeknights at midnight.
Here's the reason why I've always felt that people that do games should spend time critiquing the game instead of the officiating, because I thought that was a charge. But you watch. At the last second, see that? Kern moved right there. If he'd have held his position, that would have been a player control foul. But I take it back because that's a good call. Brian Kern moved after the offensive player had left his feet, and I take back the charge call.
And that's Kern's 3rd foul. So ISU with a pair of players with 3, and Chad Altadonna strapped with 4 fouls. And again, Southwest Missouri State now shoots for the tie. 57-55, Illinois State with the lead. And Wilkerson's shot rolls out. That's going to be an offensive foul this time on Wilkerson.
Yep, climbing right over the back, and it was a good call by Tim Hutchinson. Now, one of the reasons that Kevin may be going into the zone defense, Kurt, you know, you've got all kinds of considerations. Foul trouble happens to be one of them, and he can't afford to get anybody else in trouble. But you know what else? It takes the dribble penetration away from guys like Murdoch, and if you've got him if he can only beat you one way, and that's outside, that's better than have him doing it outside and then getting you with the dribble penetration.
That's the 4th foul now for Wilkerson. He and Johnny Epps both have 4 fouls. So their front court a little bit thin and in trouble. 8 minutes to play now. Illinois State with a 2-point lead. That's Trotter's first miss now in that last stretch, as he tried to give ISU a 5-point lead with the missed 3, though. Here's Kondelbinder, and he answers with a 3 of his own.
See, that's not good. Mo missed the shot at one end, but you can't come back and let a guy that's having the kind of a night that Kondelbinder's having stand outside the 3-point lane and not be in his numbers.
It's now a 1-point lead for the Bears. Back and forth we go. The Bears still in that man-to-man. Rob Gibbons in the game, and so is Antonio Cooper. for Illinois State. David Kaysen, the shake and bake, but he got in there with the trees and he lost the ball, and Monty Marsh came up with it. Spin move by Murdoch.
Take a look now. David drove himself right into trouble right here, but you knew that they weren't going to give Murdoch a layup. Here's where the help came in. Gibbons tried to get on top of the ball. Clint Thomas took exception to it, came right over after him, and Gibbons said, hey, wait a minute, pal. There wasn't anything intentional about it. Again, I think you've got to force somebody to the line and make them shoot those free throws. You can't give them an uncontested layup, especially when Gibbons isn't in foul trouble.
This is an interesting lineup now that Kevin Stallings has in there, with Cooper, Trotter, and Kaysen. 3 guards, Kern and Wright. No question he's trying to light a fire with some of this three-point shooting by having Cooper and Trotter in there at the same time.
And he's got a little more speed and quickness in there right now because Southwest has got those people in foul trouble, and they haven't got that very deep bench to begin with.
1 out of 2 free throws goes home for Johnny Murdoch. And with 7:10 to play, Southwest Missouri State has a 2-point lead. It's 59-57. Here with 7:10 to play, they trail 59-57 to Southwest. David Kaysen brings the ball up as ISU shoots for the tie.
One thing that I notice here are 15 turnovers now for Illinois State, and that's really jumped in the second half.
ISU still with those 3 guards in the ball game, trying to jumpstart the offense here. Kaysen, Trotter, Cooper are those guards. Franklin and Kern are playing the front court. 8 to shoot. 5 to shoot. David Kaysen forced up a tough shot, and Edwards is there for the rebound.
They didn't get what they wanted out of that sequence. That wasn't the shot they wanted, but the clock was running down. They had to take it. Good defense by Southwest.
Johnny Murdoch now. Nice drop down pass to Epps. (61-57) now, a 4-point advantage. And Marcus Franklin had the ball knocked out of his hands, and Edwards is going to be called for a reach-in.
And he better be careful because he might be called for more than that. But the ISU players have to be conscious of the fact, Kurt, that when that ball is going inside, they're running people. And you've got to either get your shot right now, or if not, when the defense is coming at you, you've got to kick the ball back out. Then when the defense comes back out, that's when the offensive player starts to make the move.
Dan Muller now is checked back in for ISU. He replaces Antonio Cooper. And here's Mo Trotter. He kind of forced up a shot. Franklin there for the rebound, had it knocked out of his hands, and another foul.
Boy, I'll tell you, if there are youngsters watching this basketball game and you want to know what rebounding is all about and about being in the right position at the right time, you just keep your eyes on that young man, because everywhere that ball has been coming off of that glass, you know, he's been there. And it goes back to the old John Wooden thing about it's not how high you jump, it's where and when. And he's doing it at the exact right time. And he's got his hands going at the same time.
That foul, by the way, was on Edwards. And look at Marcus Franklin. He's been terrific tonight again. Makes 2 more. Now we'll get a substitution. Kenny Wright will check in for Brian Kern.
Not a real big lineup that he has out on the floor right now.
Not at all.
Dan Muller at 6'6", Trotter at 6'4". Kern has gone out, so not a lot of height, but he's still matching up pretty well with Southwest.
Johnny Murdoch went down. He was in trouble. Somehow Epps came up with the ball, laid it up, and missed the shot. And Kenny Wright, I think, is going to get called for throwing his hip in underneath that.
I think he called Kenny Wright for just riding a man right out. He had pretty good position, and see if we can catch it, because at the last second, he is good. First of all, they let that guy get too much penetration right there. Now watch Kenny. He's going to go into somebody's body right here. I'm not sure whether we can see it. I think there was a little bit of a push off and a little bit of a ride out, and Tim Hutchinson got him.
Epps with the 1-and-1 misses the front end.
Every free throw.
Big.
Kurt, everything right now is critical. And let's see if the time now, I said the last 5 minutes might be critical for Southwest in terms of shooting the three-pointers, in terms of the free throws, because you lose a little bit in your legs.
Well, we're under 6 minutes to play, and it's a 61-59 Bears lead. ISU trying to tie things up. Kaysen lost his dribble, but it was knocked out of his hands, and that was a help for him. 5 seconds on the shot clock now. Not sure Kaysen realizes it. Trotter to beat the shot clock. Long banker, Again, ISU out of sync offensively.
Another possession they didn't get anything out of. A lot of times they're running around without a purpose, and I'm sure Kevin's not very happy about that. You can run all over the place, but if you don't have a purpose, you're not getting anything out of your sequence.
We're under 5 minutes to play now. It's still a 2-point, 61-59 Southwest advantage. Here's Murdoch. He got a nice screen, but he missed the shot. Epps was there, but Franklin took it right away from him.
And Epps has to be careful with the fouls.
Kaysen lost the ball. Candlebinder on the floor. He wanted to call timeout. That was a very smart play by Ben Candlebinder. On the floor, ball in his hand, call timeout.
Very good effort and very good judgment. You watch him go down. Now, the one thing also is they had the possession arrow in their favor, so even if it was a tied-up ball, watch him go down on the floor. David just lost a handle on it. Now, what Candlebinder thought was that the guy jumped on him and fouled him in the process.
61-59, the Bears with a 2-point lead. One, like we thought, 4:38 to play, and Southwest with a 2-point advantage, 61-59. And a lot of it has had to do with the fact both teams are causing the other guy trouble in the offensive end. The offensive hadn't been sharp, but I think you got to give some credit to the defense, right, Jim?
Absolutely, and I've said that all along. You have two teams that are playing very good defense tonight, and neither of them very comfortable in their offense.
So Southwest with the basketball and the 2-point advantage, and Johnny Murdoch, I think you're going to see the ball in his hands the bulk of the way.
And 4 red shirts chased him as soon as he started to drive to the basket, and that's what they should have been doing a lot earlier on some of his drives.
Right into the corner.
You have got to make that guy give up the basketball and have somebody else beat you.
Shot clock at 8. Murdoch. Well, he drove right into the paint and hit a pull-up shot. 20 points in the paint now for Southwest. ISU has 30. So both teams doing all right scoring inside. Kaysen now to right. Speaking of inside baskets, he missed the shot, and there to rip it down is Clint Thomas. And methodically, Murdoch brings the ball up. Run a little clock on this possession, I'm sure. 3.5 to play. 63-59 in favor of Southwest.
And watch who's going to have the basketball most of the time. And if he doesn't take it, Candlebinder is, I can tell you.
Murdoch had it stripped, but he regained possession and found Edwards. 6 to shoot. 4 to shoot. He's going to go one-on-one with Trotter. Barely got the ball off, and Trotter went back and got the rebound on the defensive end now. Not a real good possession on that side for the Bears. Muller off a pick for 3. Missed it. Epps there for the rebound. ISU's gone cold. Back down to Clint Thomas. Blocked by Wright, but he drew the foul. Now they're talking about perhaps goaltending with him pinning the ball up.
I'll tell you one thing, and I'll tell you one thing. A wide open shot down at the other end by Dan Muller, but nobody in position for a rebound. Look at all the white shirts, all the red shirts, all the way out of the paint. Now they come the other end. I'll tell you one thing, if Kenny Wright had not gotten his body on that man, you are allowed to pin the ball on the glass in college. It was on the way up. That would have been spectacular, but he did get, obviously, much too much body on Clint Thomas.
Wright now leaves the ball game. Brian Kern is back in. He's got 3 personals now. Thomas has been perfect at the free throw line tonight. 5 of 5. Make it 6 out of 6. It's now a 6-point Southwest Missouri State advantage, the biggest lead of the game for the Bears, 65-59. We're under 3 minutes to play. Big possession for Illinois State. Crowd back in it. Brian Kern down low, drew the foul but couldn't get it to go.
That's a little better offensive execution. There have been just simply too many possessions, Kurt, where Illinois State hasn't gotten anything out of their offense, and you commented on a couple of them. The jump shot that Muller took before, not bad, but here, they finally moved the ball. Now watch them triple team right here again. They're going to come all the way over on Kern, but he was smart enough before they were able to put the double or triple team up. He got the ball up in the glass. Now Epps is fouled out of the game. He's got a minute to get a sub in, but there's still a ton of time left in this basketball game, and there's no reason for Illinois State to start panicking. They've got to convert, they've got to make the free throws, and then they've got to shut Southwest down at the other end. They cannot trade baskets the last 2 minutes and 36 seconds. You got to play some defense and then convert on the offensive end, or else Southwest is going to win the game.
Now Epps fouls out. He's only had 8 points, but he has really been a thorn in the Redbirds' side rebounding. He's done a good job fighting for those loose balls and getting those rebounds, so I'm sure Kevin Stallings isn't crying to see him leave the game.
Plus the fact he's a very, very fine defender.
Brian Kern hit the first one, missed the second, and Johnny Murdoch grabs the loose ball. 65-60. It's a 5-point Southwest Missouri State lead. Boy, and Johnny Murdoch again drove all the way into the corner and drew a foul. He's done that about the last 4 times down the floor where he's gone right to the baseline.
And they're just waiting a little too long to go over and distract him and get him to give up the basketball. Now watch. See? Look at the block out right underneath there so that nobody can go over at him. But once that happens, Kurt, I say forget the guy you're guarding, because the whole defense has to rotate then, and if you go, somebody else has to come in and pinch your man, and they're not doing that.
You notice Kevin Stallings motioning with his offhand. He's saying, hey, you've got to call him for the push-off. You've got to call him for the push-off. And on that replay, you did see him draw some contact with that offhand.
Got to squeeze now and box out in case he misses.
1 out of 2 from the line. He has 21 points tonight. He's averaging just over 15. So he's having a nice night.
You're just 2 3-point shots away right now, so that's why there's no reason to panic. They've got to keep moving. Been picking and screening. That's good kickback out.
Kaysen for 3. Tipped out of bounds. Illinois State's going to get it back.
That's a very good kick out, and I thought a shot that David had to take. That was very good judgment on Kern's part. Watch him. As soon as that ball touches his hand, there's the double team by Cap Edwards. Bing. Pushes it back out. He just didn't can it. They're giving him all the room. Edwards, see, is plugging up the whole middle off of Kaysen.
Franklin now draws the double team. Trotter for 3. He hit it. What a tough shot in the corner with Johnny Murdoch in his face.
Now it boils down to defense. Now you're looking for the shutdown.
1:45 to play. It's a 3-point Southwest lead.
Mark's going to get a timeout. That's a good call.
He wants to talk it over, and we'll step aside as well. 1:42 here to play in regulation. It's Southwest Missouri State 66 and Illinois State 63. Next to 63, Southwest Missouri State advantage. There's 1:42 to play and a 3-point lead for the Bears. Boy, each possession is critical.
You
here.
bet. To see what kind of a play they set up. Obviously, he called that timeout for a lot of reasons. It's one, he wants them to know exactly what they're going to get out of this possession. And it's interesting because Muller is now guarding Murdoch, and Trotter's back on Kundlebenner.
You've got to watch Kundlebenner. 5 to shoot now. Anthony Edwards.
And that's the wrong guy with the ball, but let's see what happens.
Took it all the way to the hole, missed the shot, but it was tipped in by Monty Marsh. His first 2 points of the night, and he picked a big, big time to score them. One minute to play. 68-63 Southwest. Maurice Franklin the miss, and Marsh with the rebound.
See if they start playing a fractured defense right now. They can't let them burn time off the clock. They got to get up and start double teaming and trapping and see if they can play a fractured defense now.
And Muller will be called for the reach in.
Yeah.
1-and-1 time for Edwards.
Still 17. No use letting that thing get down to 5 or 6 or 7 seconds and then committing a foul. Here comes Cooper in. They need the long-range shooter. See, Cap Edwards is just sitting right back in the 3-second lane whenever David Kaysen has the ball, and that's why it's a little tough. See, against good motion teams, IS is going to take a timeout. A lot of people will drop back in and sag, and it takes away a lot of that screening, the back screening and the down screening and the curls, because they plug up that middle on you.
You're Kevin Stallings right now, Jim. What are you telling your club? What are you saying that you've got to do here?
Well, I think right now they're at 68-63, so you're talking about 2 possessions, and they've got the free throws coming now. I think you've got to get some 3-point shots. I'm not a believer in only getting 3-point shots when if you can get a 2-pointer, you can go ahead, because most people won't bother you and they don't want to foul you when you're driving. But right now, the 2 isn't going to do a lot of good, especially if they can the free throws. You've got to get it up there, get some 3-point shots, then you've got to get them right away and foul and get them to the free throw line. And that's about the only option with 36 seconds left on the clock right now.
As far as free throwing is concerned, Southwest is a 64% free throwing team. Here's some free throws tonight. You see that ISU is 9 of 15, and Southwest has gotten to the line 23 times, and they've been very productive, 74%.
They've created a lot of those free throws right there, because it's been dribble penetration some of the times, and other times it's been when they've gone to their offensive glass, ISU's defensive, and they've caused ISU to be fouling, and that's why they've put themselves on the line.
I was hoping to get a pair of wins out of this road trip, but he's got to do some work left here. 36.1 in regulation, 36.1 seconds left. Anthony Edwards is at the free throw line, and his Bears have a 5-point lead.
Wow. Didn't look very pretty, but he did it, didn't he? A 58% free throw shooter. Watch the shot. You'll know why he's shooting 58%. That's not very good form. And for the team, they're only shooting 38% in the second half, not at the line, but from the field. Southwest is only 38%, and ISU is at a reasonable 43. That's not bad. They're shooting 47 on the year, a little bit below their average. They've got to get it up in a hurry and get into action now.
Yeah, Edwards made them both. It's a 7-point lead now for Southwest, the largest lead of the game. Antonio Cooper for 3. He missed it, and Murdoch's there for the rebound. He's fouled immediately by Mo Trotter.
Exactly what they should have done. They got the 3-point shot with only, 10 seconds off the clock, created the foul, get him on the free throw line. That's the only option you've got right now. And they're smelling a victory here at the Hammond Center, where Mark Burnson has been on the hot seat in the last couple of weeks because his team started out to an 8-0 record, but they've kind of hit the skids. They've lost 6 of their last 8 to go to 10-6, so he really needed a victory tonight. The one thing they want to do on defense now, Kurt, is come down and put everybody outside the 3-point line right now. Don't let one player get inside the 3-point lane.
Murdoch made them both, and now ISU is strictly looking at the threes. Here's David Kaysen. His shot is long, but it looked like it tipped off Clint Thomas, and the Redbirds are going to get a break and get the ball back.
Give them the 2 anytime they want it right now, but don't give them the 3, and whatever you do, don't get out and foul somebody in an attempt to shoot a 3-point shot. Even if David takes it, they've got to get a ball up on the glass.
Antonio Cooper had the ball stripped, and here comes Kundelbinder. And he lays it in. Well, ISU's string of victories at the Hammond Center is going to end at 3. Maurice Trotter cans the 3. 2.9 left. It's just a matter of getting the ball in now. And that's going to do it. 74-66. Southwest Missouri State knocks off the Redbirds of ISU for the first time here at the Hammond Center in 4 years. Illinois State had won its last 3 games here, but will walk off the floor a loser tonight, 74-66, in a hard-fought game, if not very effective, at least as far as a pretty picture standpoint is concerned. 74-66, the Bears win it. We're back to recap in a minute. Missouri, where Illinois State drops this ball game in the Missouri Valley Conference to Southwest Missouri State, 74-66. We told you the keys at the beginning of the game were going to be some of that guard play, and certainly the Southwest guards showed up to play tonight, Jim. It was a story of Ben Kundelbinder and Johnny Murdoch. They did a great job this evening.
I would say so, Kurt. I think they controlled the basketball game for the most part for the 40 minutes, and there was nothing that Illinois State could do about it. I wrote myself Some notes here. I think the play of Franklin obviously is a big plus for the Redbirds. 24 points, a career high. Trotter came back and had a pretty good second half after getting shut down in the first half, and I think the foot problem had a lot to do with that, but he wound up getting 12 points. I thought offensively, especially in the second half, I thought there were way too many sequences where I didn't think Illinois State got anything out of it. As I said, and I don't mean to beat it to death, that they were kind of running around without a purpose. And again, I want to give Southwest credit because they took Illinois State out of its comfort zone and they just didn't give them any good looks at the basket. Also, and I've talked with Kevin about this, and I don't know whether you agree or not, and I don't see as many Redbird games as you all do, so I hope I'm being accurate by saying this. I know Kevin has talked about defense, that he's not happy with the total team defense, and I think tonight was another example of it. Obviously, the Bears only scored 74 points, but that's way above their average right now, and I know Kevin can't be happy with that because when they needed the stops, they weren't able to get them.
74-66 the final. Southwest beats Illinois State. We're back to put a wrap on things from Springfield, Missouri in a minute.